Hey guys, it's Mike from Eldorado Guitars, and I'm coming at you today with a video that, frankly, I thought I would never make, which is that Glenn Fricker is completely right. Let's get to it. Okay guys, so I never thought I'd make this video because, to be quite honest, I'm not crazy about Glenn Fricker. I'm sure he's a great guy off camera or whatever. Everybody says he's really nice in person, etc. But his YouTube personality I find very, very grating. He's yelling all the time. He's always angry. It's a very high stress channel to watch. But he did a video recently that I actually did watch the whole thing, and I agree with Glenn completely, which was he went and talked about the SE line of guitars, the PRS SE line of guitars that are manufactured by the Cort factory, now called Core-Tek, tells you on the back of the headstock there, in Indonesia. I don't actually normally watch his videos, but because I was considering making a video about my S2 series PRS here, I thought I would watch Glenn's video about his experience with the S2 PRS. I think it was in the broader context of like foreign-made guitars are actually really good now. But I had been meaning to talk about this specific guitar for some time, and so I thought that the two kind of went well together. So this guitar is the NF3, the SE NF3. It's manufactured, you can see in the back there, it's manufactured by Core-Tek Guitars in Indonesia, which is the Cort factory that Glenn references in his videos. I pretty much had the same exact experience as Glenn. I ordered this guitar because I was really interested in trying out an S2 PRS, and I was really interested in this one because it had these deep dish pickups. And I always love a hum canceling pickup because single coils are just too noisy for me. All the single coils I have are noise canceling in some capacity or another because, as you can see behind me, I play with too much gain for single coils to be useful to me most of the time without noise canceling. And frankly, I just hate the noise. There's enough noise in this house as it is. The power here is very dirty, so single coils really just punish you in this house. So I bought this guitar to kind of explore what these pickups sounded like and to kind of get my hands on one of the S2 line PRSs. Now, before I get too much further, I want to state that this is not my first PRS, okay? I've owned many PRSs over the years, going all the way back to my very first serious guitar, which was a PRS CE24 in 1998-ish. So maybe a little later, 99. You know, I've played PRS guitars for a long time. And I have two here with me right now, just to show you a comparison so that you guys can know that I am basing my thoughts on the S2 off of comparisons to very expensive Core PRSs. So here's the first one that I own. This is a Custom 2408. It's a 2025 model. It's got the new like head things. The back is natural. It's got a wide, thin neck. These are the PRS TCI humbuckers. It has those high-pass filters on here that kind of act like a coil split-ish without the volume loss. And this is a fantastic guitar, absolutely amazing guitar. Oh, and the retail on that I think is like $46.99 plus tax, shipping, whatever. Then I picked up this one recently, which was a screaming deal. I was interested in these from the minute they came out. I'll just be honest, I just thought they looked cool as shit. I just thought that it was a really cool, slick look. And I've always been a fan of the standard line of PRSs because they're all mahogany, and I really like that. So the retail on this is $34.99, which I think is way too much, and I can make another video about this at some other time. I got this used for $21.50. So like that was a deal, okay? And this is a Core model, all right? You can see it's a 2020. This is actually technically a 2024. These came out in 2025, but this one I think was one of the earliest ones made because it still has a 2024 on the back of the headstock. And so when I'm comparing this guitar to those guitars, I'm just going to give it to you straight. There's very little difference. I mean, other than the pickups and a couple of tiny things that I'll talk about in a second, there is very little difference. And Glenn is right. These are amazing guitars for the money. I cannot think, I mean, I bought this, I don't know what the retail is on these now, because I bought this last Fall? Yeah, I got it in the fall because I got it during the Christmas sale. I got it during the Christmas sale. I think these were $749 during Christmas, during like November, December of last year. And I thought, you know what, for $749, I want to check these deep dish out. I found a really good one. This one weighs, I think, 7 pounds, 10 ounces, so great weight on this guy. The body is a little small, and then I got one with a really dark board, you can see, that looks awesome. So let's check out a couple of sound clips really quickly of this bad boy. I'm going to be going from this guitar. I've got two little pedals on the ground here, my UA Max and my Protein Drive, and we're going to be going into my 1996 Diesel Blueface VH4. So let's check out a couple sounds. I'll do some on each channel, and then we'll come back and talk about some pros and cons. those were amazing sounds. I mean, I thought it sounded really, really good. I mean, I don't know what else to say. This guitar can really cover it all. I really like to think about this guitar as more of an HSS than an SSS. This pickup is different from these two. These two are the same. The neck and the middle are the same. If you take the pickguard off, you'll see it. It says neck mid on these two. But on this one, it specifically says bridge. And I think what they did on this one is they put a little extra output on this guy. It's a little bit darker. Almost reminds me of like a P90 or a hot P90, you know? So really, really nice bridge pickup. And then the neck and the middle just sound great. Now, a lot of people are gonna say, does this sound exactly like a Strat? No, if you want that, go buy a Silver Sky, okay? Because it's pretty much a Strat. This is like a more modern version, right? So maybe this is sort of like the Silver Sky is to like a vintage styled Strat, and this is to like an American Ultra styled Strat. Right? So it's not intended to sound vintagey, I don't think. But it sounds very good and in a lot of different styles. The other thing I really like about this guitar is the neck. The neck is awesome on this thing. I mean, like seriously awesome. It's a satin and it's just perfectly smooth. It never gets sticky. I mean, I just did those takes with it, so it's a little cruddy right now. And even then, I can just brush the crud off, right? Like my sweat, you know? It just comes off because it's hot today. It's, you know, August, right? And whereas with these ones, right, this one actually has full gloss on the neck. PRS figured something out with this one not to make the neck too sticky. Like you can feel it doesn't, just not, you know, it kind of is like as good as you're gonna get it, but it still sometimes slows you down or gets a little slick if you're sweating. And obviously this one solves that problem because it's satin everywhere. So this one has, but this neck is not the same as the SE neck. This actually has a little bit more friction on it. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, it's better than this one down here, but it's still got a little friction on it. This is probably like a happy medium. This one just has a wonderful satin neck that is awesome and sounds and plays great. So pickups are great, especially love that bridge pickup. The neck is great. The fit and finish on this thing is great. It stays in tune. I mean, okay, I'm gonna date myself here, all right? So when I was a kid in the early 90s, my dad got me my first electric guitar, which was a Mexican Strat. 3-tone sunburst, maple neck. I still remember what it looked like. And at that time, in the early to mid 90s, Mexican Strats like just didn't stay in tune. Like they just didn't stay in tune, right? I don't know what else to say. Like I was constantly fighting with that thing. And I remember I even took it to my guitar teacher and was like, can you please help me? And he was like, yeah, this guitar is, something is not right with this thing. And you had to actually get like an American Strat for it to actually stay in tune. So that's how far we've come, that now this thing, which, you know, probably costs the same amount as that Mexican, well, that's not true. It's been a long time. But, you know, comparatively might cost about the same. And this thing just stays in tune like a rock. And I mean, listen to how resonant this thing is. I mean, that is an insane amount, and I can feel it swirling throughout the body and the neck. I can feel the string shaking throughout the body and the neck. I mean, it's awesome. And this thing just sounds and plays as good as those two right there. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Now, don't get me wrong, the fretwork on these is a little bit, right? It's not quite as rolled. I mean, these are perfect. You can't feel anything. No frets of any kind. This one you can feel a little bit, you know, but this is a very nice, very, very nice fret job. I mean, just plays great, no dead spots, very low setup. The pickups are killer. You know, I mean, it just sounds and plays incredible. So really resonant, great fretwork, stays in tune, awesome pickups. I really love it. This is a great guitar, especially if you can get it for the price I paid for it. Now, there are a couple of negatives to this guitar as well that I do want to cover, that problems that I didn't really have on these other two guitars, and just things that are a little bit, you know, could use a little work. So number one, I really wish, and this is a common complaint with most PRSs, to be honest, I really wish they had 3 knobs. You know, I really like to have my neck pickup and my bridge pickup very similar in brightness, and having one tone knob doesn't really do that. You know, now luckily this is pretty balanced, and so are the PRSs. You know, Paul Reed Smith is pretty good about making this two knob configuration work really well, and the way he does that by balancing the pickups very well, right, in all of these models, right? So I'll say it's pretty balanced. It's not like a deal breaker, but I really wish that there were two tone knobs. It would be a lot better. One for bridge and then one for middle neck, or maybe even just for neck. If the middle doesn't have a tone knob, I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me that much. Another thing that I did notice about this that's a pretty minor complaint, but the bridge is a bit different. These bridges are, I believe, identical. These are the PRS Gen 3 bridges. So you'll notice that what they've done on this is they have put brass. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but they have put brass like actually in the saddles, like in the divot there is brass. And then they made all the other components brass as well, like the screws are brass, the action height adjustment is brass, right? I believe the nut is made out of a brass composite powder. I mean, this is some real space age shit, okay? Even the tuners, if you look at the tuners, you can see they're gold, right? They're brass, right? So this is a little bit different than the SE. I really wish that the SE had a little bit, I know it's a budget guitar, but I really wish maybe it at least had locking tuners. I don't think these tuners are bad or anything, but it might be nice if it had these. Now, I know you can buy them. People say, oh yeah, you can, and you can. You can go on the PRS website and they'll sell you the parts, which is really nice. So you can, you know, and they'll tell you which ones are specifically for the S2 line. So you can go upgrade them. The bridge, I'm not sure if you can. I guess you could go buy one and put it in. I don't know if it's the same exact dimensions or not. So one thing I will say though is, if you like the sound of steel, and some people do, right? I mean, vintage Fender bridges are steel. So you may prefer this bridge because it's not brass, it's steel. Brass makes it sound a little more like a Tele, to be honest, right? Like Teles usually have brass saddles. Steel is usually Strats. So you may actually prefer this bridge, just something to think about. And then one other negative I will say is, while the nut is very good, I actually think it's done very well, better than any Epiphone, or frankly, better than many USA Gibsons I've played. The nut is cut well, but it's still a plastic nut, right? You could upgrade this. It would be nice if it was Tek, or if it was like an SE version of these, you know, of this brass thing, you know, just made overseas or whatever. It would be really nice. I would like that a lot. And then maybe the only other thing I don't really love is, and this is a very, very small point, okay? This is really me mincing hairs here, so nobody get bent out of shape. I don't like that these stick up off the body. You know, I know that that's on all Strats, you know, so I'm not like losing sleep over it, but it would be nice if this was flush with the body like it is on the Core ones. It would be nice. And I don't feel like it would take a lot to just like recess that a little, but I don't make guitars, so I don't really know. The scarf joint, a lot of people will complain that this has a scarf joint. So this is not a one-piece maple neck. It's this is one piece, and then there's a little, see this little joint right here, and it kind of comes down on the sides. So what they do is they take one piece of wood here, and then they glue this part on. And that's very common on these guitars that are made in Indonesia and China. In fact, here, I happen to have here, this is an Epiphone. This is the new Epiphone Les Paul Custom with the Gibson style headstock. You'll notice that there is a little, see this part right here? How the nut comes down and then this kind of comes around. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, but like this is using a scarf joint, I think also, right? So that's what they do with a lot of the cheaper guitars. They'll do a scarf joint. So this one does have a scarf joint, which is not the end of the world to me, but you know, just something to think about. So overall, I really can't recommend this guitar enough. Even at full price, this is a deal. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's like these guitars are, you know, $5,000 and what, $4,000 respectively. Now, this black one, I do think is probably worth like $5,000, right? I mean, like to an extent, no guitar's worth $5,000, but you know what I mean, right? It's got the natural back, it's got the maple top, it's got, you know, all the fixins, it's got like complicated electronics, it's got, you know, all of that kind of stuff. This one is $34.99, I think, or $36.99, and then by the time you pay tax and stuff, it's gonna be about $4 grand. I don't know if this is worth $4 grand. I don't feel like it is. That's why I bought it used. At $2,150, this was a steal, right? But at $4,000, it doesn't, you know, I don't know if it's worth $4,000, but it's maybe worth like $3,000 to me. Probably on par with like maybe like the American Ultra series or something, right? So, you know, we got $5,000 and we got like $4,000, but maybe really worth $3,000. And this, I think the retail on these is something like $9.89 or $8.99 or $9.49 or something like that, right? And like I said, if Christmas is coming up, right, I bet these will be on sale again. I got this for $7.49. I mean, for $7.49, I can't imagine spending $750 on a guitar any better than the SE line. Like, I can't see it. This is better than American-made guitars I have. To be quite blunt, I mean, this is as good or better as my American Strats. It's as good or better as like Gibson USA products, you know, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, you know, but it's like, this thing is built like a tank. It sounds awesome. It never goes out of tune, like very rarely, and it just looks and sounds awesome. Glenn Fricker was right. He was right. These are amazing guitars. And, you know, I don't really like Glenn Fricker very much, but, you know, I'm sure he's a nice guy off of YouTube, right? But I don't like his YouTube personality that much. But he's right about these. These are an insane value. And I think the one that he bought was even cheaper. So if you can get your hands on one of these used, I have seen these on Reverb used going for like $450, $500. I would buy these all day. I'm actually even thinking about getting another one, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I'm thinking about getting a white one, or maybe if they release new colors for next year, I might buy another one with like a black pick guard, because I think that these are so fantastic. So yeah, guys, I mean, that's about it. That's all I can say. This guitar is awesome. You know, go out and buy an expensive PRS if you want to. They're great. They're great guitars. You know, it's nothing against expensive PRSs, but this is what, a fifth of the price or less? And it probably plays 80 to 90% the same, you know? It really makes you question, like, foreign guitars, especially these ones made at the Cort factory and this Core-Tek factory, really make me question whether it's even worth buying expensive guitars anymore. More of these types of guitars have snuck their way into my guitar army here than I'd like to admit. Like that Gibson, the Epiphone that I just had up here a minute ago. I mean, that thing is insane. For 1,100 bucks, I think I got that thing, you know? I mean, it really makes you wonder whether it's even worth it to buy expensive USA-made guitars anymore, unless it's something you really, really want. I mean, this guitar I've used on gigs, I've taken it to practice, you know, and it just keeps ticking. So go pick one of these up. All right, guys, thanks for watching. This is Mike from Eldorado Guitars. I'll check you next time. Good night, guys.